Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Greet the Week. I'm Jan Moray, and I'm here with my co-host, Mona Duncan, and we have several of our regular guests here as well. So welcome, everybody, and welcome to everybody who's watching us on the replay. And today's topic is when giving up can be a good thing. So Mona starts off by saying, life is cyclable. It's not static. It's not on a straight continuum. And there are all shades and degrees, and there are hard places and easy streets, and nothing stays the same. So Mona, when, how do we know when it's time to give up or to keep trudging along?
Well, I mean, there's not a 1, 2, 3, ABC answer to that.
Aww.
I know. And often having what you need or what you want is attached to letting go of what you have. That, some of the things that we can hold on to, and it really keeps us stuck. We were born with certain needs, and we were born to love, and sometimes we love stuff and people and situations and that kind of stuff. And no matter what the cost, and no matter what others say, and no matter how the past is played out, we have choices that need to be made, and we need to look and see if things are going smoothly enough, or if we need to just say, we need to cut our losses and move on. And so I thought we would just look a little bit about that, and the fact that energy is always restorative.
Okay.
Most errors can be corrected. Not all, but most can be. And
so you're saying our energy is renewable?
Yes. Yes, our energy.
It doesn't get depleted.
Well, it does initially, but it is renewable. And, sometimes people think it can't be, but it can be, but we have to work at it. It's not a just jump up and down 1 or 2 times. However, just jumping up and down 1 or 2 times begins to give more energy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of looking at the fact that often having what you want is attached to letting go of what you have. So,
okay.
In teaching time management and balance and all that kind of stuff, I like to look at the fact that less is what?
More.
Less is more. So I'm going to name some time. If you have less stuff, what do you have? You answer it.
Oh, what did you say, Jerry?
Space.
More space.
More space. You have less stuff, then you have more space, more room, more energy. If you have less debt, what do you have?
More money.
More money, maybe more peace, more power.
Yeah.
If you have less commitments, what do you have?
More free time.
More free time. If you have less perfection,
oh my goodness.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Peace, creativity, time.
Stress.
Stress?
Less stress. Less stress. Yeah. I'm thinking the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. So that if you have less perfection, you'll have less stress.
Less stress.
Yeah. And I think back to whenever, I still like to invite people over and, prepare meals and all that kind of stuff. But initially, I wanted everything just to be really nice and good. And well, it just wasn't complete without making those radishes into rosettes.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes you have to just let it go. That doesn't change the flavor of it, and it just changes the appearance.
It doesn't.
So if you have less complaining, what do you have?
Well, more satisfaction.
Yeah. Yeah, if we wasn't always looking on the negative and seeing what could possibly be good about this.
More gratitude, maybe.
Yeah, a little more gratitude. Maybe a little more joy.
Yeah.
Of not being good. What about less micromanaging?
Oh, more peace.
More peace.
And again, less stress.
Yeah, and more relating. Would it be easier to relate with someone if we weren't micromanaging them?
Right, right.
Yeah. Well,
Hang on, somebody's trying to get on to the broadcast, so give me a second. So you just carry on. Maybe Jerry can answer your questions.
yeah. Well, actually, I mean, I put less stress, less demanding. What do you have whenever you have less of those? And we've kind of already covered. It's less demanding. What do you have, Jerry?
More freedom.
More freedom, more freedom. Well, the thing of it is, we as human beings, we have a tendency to pass on the energy that was given to us. That if someone, shoves you, you have or pushes you, have a tendency to kind of push back. And if we do not transform our pain, we will transmit it. And sometimes those things that we've been holding on to has become quite painful, whether that is stuff or whether that is the past that's trying to be rebuilt.
Yeah,
So-
because when we're holding on to things, I mean, we're holding on to what we know. It may not necessarily be what we need.
Or what we think we know.
Or right, okay, or what we're comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it's a discomfort, we're comfortable with thinking.
Yes, exactly. And that doesn't make sense, but you see people in relationships that from the outside are not good, but it's what they're used to.
Right. And so the whole world, I mean, it's just nothing but a paradox. It's in a poem I've written, I call it backwards, crazy, mixed up world, but it's a law that
Yeah.
that whatever you give, you cannot give what you don't have. And that we are always receiving energy from other people. And so if we do not transform our pain, we will transmit it. We will transmit it.
Yeah.
And it's looking at, so I talk about giving up, when giving up can be a good thing. Well, what are some of the things that we need to give up? Sometimes we say, well, if I just had a sign, I know, give me some kind of a sign.
Right.
And it may not be so much a sign that, okay, let's just suppose that there's a bad relationship or a not healthy relationship. And so the person that you are engaging with may call you a less than honorable name. And it's not so much, I mean, it matters what someone calls you, but it's not as much what someone calls you as it is to what you answer to. And so if someone says to you, hey, you no good so-and-so, get over here and do this, but something inside of you says, I'm buying into this, but I know better because I know that I am somebody, then it is your weakness that's giving you a sign to stop acknowledging that you are that no-name person, that no personality person, that no being. And it's time to learn how to not transmit the pain, but to transform. Transforming is power.
Yeah.
Transform. We had a transformer go out a few years back, and those things they're costly.
Yes, they are.
And it is necessary to fix that transformer or to fix our transformation, to transform us in order that we can retain the light to see who we are. Okay, so talking about giving up. Give up trying to figure out why.
That's a tough one because we all want to know why, but we may never know why. And even if we think we know why, it may not be why.
Exactly. Give up. How could they? How could they? We discontent.
I just lost your sound, Mona. Anybody else?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear Jerry. I hear Jerry. So we lost.
She looks frozen.
We seek.
There you go. She's back.
I question whether we should ever give up trying to figure out why. I mean, we can understand if we can't figure it out, we can relax and not get stressed out by it. But I think the human condition should always, for the next 1,000 years, try to figure out why. That's how we're going to transform. That's how we're going to transform a semi-successful societies all around the world by continuously searching for the why.
But who does it start with?
Well,
You cannot transform someone else until you've been transformed yourself.
no, that's right. Exactly.
And so it always starts with the individual.
Yes, but you can ask why of yourself.
Okay.
And of what's going on in the world, but to give up asking why, to me at least, is almost like becoming
Accepting.
yes, except
Is it a dogma to you?
accepting's good on the short term, but not on the long term.
I like to look at words. You know, y'all heard me talk about words before and how much I love them. But I also like to look at words that I don't want to use anymore.
Like what?
And to keep word, well, such as
You got to use it.
such as entitlement, such as deserve, such as why.
You don't want to use those words?
No.
Why?
Because that why you can
Right.
you can dig a tunnel all the way to China. And every why ask another why and another why and another why. And it just leads us to the mystery of life. And the more we can see it and acknowledge it and then either embrace it or move past it.
But this is what we as humans are different from all other life forms. We have the capacity to ask and to answer that question. I don't think any other life forms ask why. I don't think dogs or porpoises or monkeys or, well, you know, I just think we're humans. We're a little bit different, a lot different
Well, I tell
than
you
all
what,
other life forms.
I'm going to give you the privilege of thinking whatever you want to think.
Well, thank you very much.
Will you receive that?
magnanimous of you, and I will give you that privilege too.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And so sometimes just give up trying to figure out why, because we harm ourselves more than we help ourselves all too often. Give up wanting to hurt someone like they hurt you. And unfortunately, that is pretty much a part of the human. But we can't do that until we begin to transform ourselves. Give up the illusion of what we do deserve or what we do not deserve. Give up that illusion of being entitled to. Give up that trying to hurt another one for some retribution of some kind. Everything has a trade-off. And with that trade-off, you know, looking at physics and all that kind of stuff, that it is either an equal or an opposite reaction. And so, since the equal reaction has proven to be itself harmful in many incidents, go with the opposite reaction. You know, when someone is unkind to me, I want to go with the opposite reaction of being kind to them. Whereas when someone is kind to me, I want to go with the equal reaction
Right.
of being kind to them.
Yeah.
And as the Dalai Lama said, that whenever, instead of asking why, just say yes. Just say yes, no matter what it is. And it goes back to the, you know, to Rumi's poem, The Guest House. No matter what they're doing, they're coming in, oh, but they're robbing me. They're taking all my stuff. Well, welcome them in. So what? It's going to give you more room. It's going to give you, you're going to have more when you quit hanging on to those things.
But that's hard to do sometimes.
It is hard to do.
Sometimes it's very difficult to.
So if all the conditions were met for X, the thing of it is that we individually, the one-on-ones, not the group mentality, although we need to look at have a solidarity with others to a large degree without trying to figure out where they're coming from or what they're thinking. And free will, we've been given this gift of a free will. And we have the ability and the responsibility to make our own choices with that gift. And so whenever we look at it, we just say yes to it. That's not to say that you just bow down and allow yourself to be beat up. That's not to say that. It's just to go with a kind, because there is such power in kindness.
There is a lot of power in kindness. That's something that I've become more and more aware of as I get older. Is when you want something, you tend to think that you've got to get mean and demand it, and but the whole thing is you just do. You get people to cooperate better when you're nice and try to understand where they're coming from instead of demanding things. And
it's healthier for you.
Absolutely.
Healthier for you. So I'm looking at some things here, that we like, what if a violation of laws? Well, someone is caught speeding, or we always want to look at, well, it was an accident, but laws are for our protection. Now, we can see them as being binding, as in, why in the world do I have to go 45 in this speed zone whenever, but there may be reasons for that, legitimate reasons. And
but I can always choose to go faster too.
They can choose to go faster, and they can choose to get a speeding ticket.
Right.
But the thing of it is all too often we slide by these things and we answer our own whys incorrectly, but we still answer them. And then when we have something else presented to us, we don't want to hear it because we've already come up with our answer. And we get angry over those laws that we deliberately disobeyed. Like the speeding ticket. All conditions were met for you to get caught speeding. And the person says, well, why me?
Why me? I know. It's like us, all these other people are speeding out there. Why am I the one who gets caught?
Exactly. And so, as I had a friend one time that asked, well, why me? Why didn't you get all those others? Look how many people are speeding on by now. And the police officer said to him, he says, well, he said, have you ever gone fishing? He said, yeah. He said, well, did you catch them all? And so the policeman says, I can't catch them all, but I catch the fastest ones. And you're my catch for today. So that law of gravity was in effect before Isaac Newton discovered it. And so the law of truth or consequences is in effect whether or not we subscribe to it. It's in effect. And so some of the things is, beginning to look at what might be our inaccurate perspective. How have we seen things in ways that are not accurate? Failing to see the dignity of each life, each one, even those that we're so adamant against. Failing to see the dignity of each life leads to rudeness, disrespect, prejudices, bigotry.
And we overlook the good things too when we have our mindset that this is bad.
And this disregard of humanity manifests itself in greed as well as passion, anger, frustration. So failure to receive each person as having infinite worth and value leads to ill and abuse of all kinds, leads to just a plain old disregard. But as we begin to transform ourselves by beginning to see yourself and others as the wonderful work of art that you are, you're an original, and appreciate
That's
that
that's a
without being,
good attitude to have, especially with children who are not doing things that you think they should be doing. It's just continue to consider them a work of art, which they are. They are, they're their own people, and they have to do what's right for them. Um, but
right, right.
it's a tough one sometimes.
Yeah. And not only those inaccurate perceptions, but looking at our own selves, the ineffective choices that we've made.
Yeah.
We have the freedom to make our own choices, but it's not without consequences. And the choice of one person affects the choices of others. Sometimes for good, sometimes it's neutral, sometimes it's not so good. So not only do we have that gift of a free will, but we have a mind that has the ability to reason, to think, to evaluate, to understand only where we're coming from. But I don't know if we can even understand where we're coming from. I just think it's too complicated.
Or
So
you think you might be coming from a certain place, but you find out later that that wasn't it at all.
exactly, that it was more one of just of another type of attitude instead of just being accepting and being kind. And so the fallacy of what it's supposed to be, so okay, universe, if this is not right, if this is not what I'm supposed to do, then stop me. But yet how many of us listen to any of those signs that might say, well, wait a while,
Yeah.
or do stop?
So how do you get those signs? What do they look like?
Well, you listen deep down inside to see what your wisdom heart is telling you, because it will never drink the Kool-Aid. Our ego will. Our
Mm-hmm.
ego will think we know it all. Our ego will really buoy the situation up, or it'll keep you down because you were such a lousy so-and-so. But
So when you're listening, though, what you're really talking about there is you're listening to what your emotions are telling
you're listening, okay, I'm talking about listening to your true self.
you. Okay.
Your
And how do you listen to that? How does that manifest itself?
well, it rarely asks for anything easy. Which can be a real put off. And I realize that that's why I have not listened to it so many times,
Yeah.
is because it wasn't asking anything that was easy. It was asking me to care instead of disregard. It was asking me to consider this instead of going with that dogmatic, but I know this, because you just don't. It is, but stop. Now, if I'm not supposed to get this loan, I know I want that new vehicle. I know that other one would work and it would probably go a few more years, but and if I'm not supposed to get this loan, then they won't honor, they
won't
will
have, they won't approve it.
Right. And yet, you can even have a really bad credit reference. And if at all possible, they're going to approve it. And then, we own what we have bought into, only it's not turning out to be so welcoming. So our human thinking cannot explain one of the greatest tragedies in life is that no matter what happens, there are innocent people that are hurt. Whether that's a tornado or just a disagreement, there are innocent people that are hurt. But those innocent people does not mean that because they were innocent in that situation doesn't mean that they're without error in their whole life. So sometimes we just need to trust when life doesn't make sense. Believe even when we do not understand. If you
So
can't
do we need to take into consideration those innocent people that are hurt?
yeah. And it's probably because there had been time that in our innocence we were hurt, that we just didn't know how to acknowledge it and realize that we were carrying it with us. That, and if you can't put a specific truth to it, you know, if you can't put a specific belief to it, go with that tried and true that's been a fact so far from history, as far as I'm aware of, is that each day will a new day will dawn tomorrow. And it's amazing what we can see tomorrow that we can't see today.
Yeah.
And it's through those avenues of that new day dawning tomorrow that we may be in a place to receive peace, to receive an understanding, even though I don't understand, or an acceptance, even though I don't want to accept it.
So is that where you're talking about giving up? And it's
That's
time
what I'm
to
talking
give,
about, giving up.
giving up on your idea, giving up on what you perceive to be true.
Giving up on needing to know why.
I need to know why.
Because if it's, you know, if it's meant to be, will it be? Well, if it's meant to be, I suppose it will be. So Joy Boysinski wrote a beautiful, it's a plea for peace. And I'd like to just share that in the giving up. It might help to know that too. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I awaken to the light of my own true nature. May I be healed. May I be a source of healing for all beings. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the true light of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all beings. And then to go globally. May there be peace on earth. May the hearts of all people be open to their true selves and to each other. May all people awaken to the light of their own true nature. May all creation be blessed. Those things that can't ask why and those things that can't ask why. All creation be blessed and be a blessing to all that is. And to realize that sometimes giving up can be a good thing, and realizing that less of something is giving us more in the long run.
Yeah. And to be able to recognize when it's that time to give it up.
Right. Right. And to, you know, and to have peace even in that relinquishing.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, thanks for that, Mona. Good food for thought for today. And I guess I'll close off the recording and we'll see you again next week for another edition of Greet the Week.